This week, the artist who supplies the monsters and madmen for wax museums. A bash dedicated to the 30th anniversary of Star Trek. And Pamela Anderson Lee chucks her bikini to go sci-fi in Barb Wire.
3, 2, 1.
Hey, Buzzers, come on over here. I'm digging on two of my favorite comic books. I bet you liked them too. Gen 13, you know, filled with kid adventure plots, slacker slang dialogue that's great, and beautiful artwork from our friends over at Image Comics. But here's my personal favorite, Barb Wire. Oh yeah, filled with the adventures of that bad butt babe.
Hey, Mike, she doesn't have a bad butt. What are you talking about?
No, I'm talking about her attitude, you know, but if I say she's a bad ass, I'll get bleeped.
Why can't you say Bart Simpson says?
But John, Bart is a cartoon character. I'm a real-life guy here. I can't be saying it's on TV. Anyway, here's Ms. Wire on the big screen.
What, are you gonna shoot me?
Why waste a good bullet? I thought I told you never to come back.
Dark Horse Entertainment hopes to repeat the staggering success of The Mask with another film based on a Dark Horse comic book character. Barb Wire is her name and the title of the picture. In this futuristic action-adventure, the robust, no-nonsense heroine struggles to save the day in a second American Civil War. To fill the action-packed role and the action-packed dress, the producers enlisted bodacious Baywatch babe Pamela Anderson Lee. She found that Barb's kick-butt adventures made Baywatch rescues seem like a beach party.
It's tough filming an action movie for anybody. It's really hard. It's a lot harder than people think. It's a lot harder than doing, say, a movie that's just based on, you know, mostly dialogue or like a romantic, lighthearted comedy.
Pamela went out of her way to make her job tough by doing most of her own stunts. They included lots of physical combat and motorcycle maneuvers.
I don't bruise easy, so the fact that I got bruised at all meant that I was getting flung around a lot.
In one motorcycle misadventure, Pamela skidded into a fence and wiped out. And there were many other scary challenges that would have daunted even a Stallone or Schwarzenegger. Those guys, however, don't have to perform their stunts in a skin-tight leather dress and stilettos.
In my case, I had to wear a corset that made my waist 17 inches and high heels, so I was kind of kickboxing and you know, on a motorcycle and doing all these stunts and everything and kind of a different kind of costume.
Even with ever-present physical dangers on the set, Pamela's biggest fear was of erupting from her dress. And that fear of falling out caused a falling out between her and the garment.
After a few months in that costume, I mean, I was thinking in the beginning of the movie, I was thinking, can I keep all this stuff? You know, can I have this stuff? And then by the end of it, I was like, keep it. I never want to see it again. I don't want to see anything about that costume anymore.
Allow me to introduce our hostess, the inimitable, even in Washington. We've heard of Barb Wire.
Adding to the physical challenge of this role was the fact that Pamela suffered serious medical problems while Barb Wire was being shot. She and her new husband, rock musician Tommy Lee, had just announced that they were expecting a child.
Unfortunately, I had a miscarriage, and I had endometriosis, which I had to have surgery. And so the day I could move my legs is the day I went back to work. I only missed 4 days of work. So it was, I mean, emotionally, it was really difficult because a miscarriage is awful and really difficult for anybody. And then with Tommy and I really had no time to really emotionally deal with it. I was right in the middle of a film and doing this, so that was really difficult. But actually working kind of took my mind off it a little bit, and then we were very fortunate to get pregnant again right away. And we're about to have another baby. We're about to have a baby, so we're lucky.
Don't move!
Look out, she's got a grenade!
Now, when you see this film, you'll appreciate what Pamela Anderson Lee went through to make it. Just like her character, she's tough as, well, barbed wire. On screen and off, she's a regular Pambo.
My name is Paul Roberts of Sacramento, California. I'd like to recommend Warrior Nun Aerial.
Warrior Nun Ariel is exactly what her name says. She is a nun and a warrior. This comic is part science fiction and part horror. You will see Warrior Nun Ariel fight werewolves, vampires, Valkyries, demons, demigods, you name it. You may even see her team up with another nun named Shotgun Mary. If you like high-flying science fiction horror adventure, then you must read Warrior Nun Ariel.
Next, celebrating the 30th anniversary of Star Trek. Stay glued.
Oh, man, I can't believe this happened to me. You know, recently I was so busy I couldn't attend a Star Trek convention. What I was doing, I had to interview Pamela Anderson Lee. It had to be done, okay? So we sent somebody else in my stead.
It's been 29 years since the premiere of the classic Star Trek series, but Creation Entertainment couldn't wait another minute to throw a 30th anniversary bash. So we sent comedian, Trekker, and Buzz buddy, Patton Oswalt, to Pasadena to check out the star-studded scene.
I'm with Patrick Stewart, ladies and gentlemen. I can't believe he showed up.
Yes.
Jean-Luc Picard, who actually even has an English accent for this. So that's how dedicated he is.
It was very
kept his
difficult
English
to
accent.
rehearse and get this accent with all the Americans speaking to me in this manner.
It takes like 4 hours in the morning to apply the English accent. How much weight do you lose like wearing this all day?
Oh, wearing it, I usually lose about 5 pounds.
About 5? That's very nice. And it slims the hips too. It's got the shoulders. Yeah, I could use one of these, because I'm kind of pear-shaped, man. You know,
we
if I
can
had like
hook
a
you up and
Klingon.
we can throw you out into space, and
Oh my God,
guaranteed you lose about 15, 20 pounds.
That is hypoallergenic, right? It's very nice.
It will wash off
It'll
eventually.
breathe. Did you leave a little strip in the back like in Goldfinger so you're like won't suffocate or
No.
anything? Okay, well, then she doesn't have a lot of time, folks. I better wrap this interview up. Hi, I'm here with Jim Latta, and he is from the yet-to-be-built Museum of Science Fiction.
Yes, we brought some living artifacts today, not just costumes, but we've got some real artifacts from the original show. This is Barbara Luna, who is Marlena Moreau in the classic Star Trek episode Mirror Mirror.
Pretty hot. Is he a good kisser? Is Shatner a good kisser?
He was a good kisser.
Is he?
Probably still is.
Oh, hear that?
Right here. In the house. Colonel Green from Savage Curtain. Philip Pine and Charlie Deercuff.
And you?
From Wolf in the Fold.
I'm Morla from Cadabra Street, Prefect. I couldn't have done a thing like that. You're not Julius. Jealousy is a sin. I couldn't do that.
What was your favorite line?
Yes. I don't trust you, Vulcan.
Oh, man.
See
I
me
would
line.
freak out if someone said that to me. You're like an ambassador?
Right.
A Vulcan ambassador.
Vulcan ambassador.
And you like come on the ship or?
Mind reading.
Did you do the mind meld in the episode?
Oh, yes.
What costume is this? I don't know, what crew member wore the big Tasmanian Devil t-shirt? I forget that guy. Is it like the navigator or something? The cook. You should be ashamed. What's your name?
Marcelo.
You should be ashamed of yourself, all right?
Why?
You're a disgrace to the convention. From now, you know, when you come here, for God's sakes, put some kind of costume together. This is Bob, and Bob has this really cool table full of all of these original collectibles from the Star Trek series. Some of this stuff, this is like the original stuff, isn't it?
Absolutely.
What's that right there?
That is the Saurian brandy bottle.
Were those mass-produced, or did some guy make those?
Dickel put these out, with and without alcohol.
Like an alcohol company actually manufactured their alcohol in these bottles?
The bottle was so popular on the original series that Dickel started producing it.
Wow. There was like some Trekkie in the top echelons of this liquor company. That's cool. How much does that go for?
$100.50.
How do you feel now that Star Trek is considered kind of this classic, almost like a, classic rock kind of thing, like an oldie but a goodie? I mean, it's 30 years old.
That's great. That's wonderful. I mean, something good just doesn't need to fade away.
It's like fine wine, it gets better with age.
Yes, it does.
Live long and prosper.
You ready for this? She teaches a course in where? In Newfoundland?
Newfoundland.
Canada. about like religion and religion in modern society, as well as just religion in general. And she's here because she says that these Star Trek conventions are like modern pilgrimages.
Yes, what I'm interested in is Star Trek convention attendance as modern pilgrimage. So that's what I'm down here doing, asking Trek fans what they think about Star Trek and what kind of meaning it gives to their lives, and whether this can be seen as modern ritual or whether it can be seen as religious.
Well, this has been one of the greatest days of my life, and I just want to say thank you for everyone at the Sci-Fi Channel, and I'll miss you most of all, Klingon. Bye. Live long and prosper, everyone.
Time now for a Harlan Ellison commentary. Not that that reminds us of Harlan in any way at all. With our good friend Bob Burns right here, we have an announcement for you. In mid-April, Harlan had quadruple bypass surgery. Ooh. But it went very well, I understand.
Great.
And he's resting up. You know Harlan very well.
Sure do. Known him for years.
Good guy.
Oh, big heart.
Big heart?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Well, he worked on that big heart of his, but he is doing fine. Luckily, we taped some of his commentaries before the surgery, so we can share one of those with you right now. We miss you, Harlan. Love you. Come back soon.
I catch an enormous amount of crap from time to time because I haven't finished editing the last Dangerous Visions volume. You know, people say, when are you going to do it? And I say, well, you know, my response is the same as Michelangelo to the Pope. You'll get it when it's done. But when I edited the Dangerous Visions anthologies, or when I did Medea, or did any of the other work that I've done as an editor, I understood that I was not just going out there and willy-nilly randomly buying stories to throw into an anthology which might make a few bucks, and then that was the end of it. I understood that if a writer gave me a story, I was in caretakership for that work. That I was the janitor of that building, that I had to protect the writers. So the contracts, all of my contracts, have a clause in them that's a deal breaker that says you will send copies of all the foreign editions, of every reprint edition, of everything else, to the writers. And I provide them with a list of everybody in the book with an updated address so they don't have a problem. Now, publishers find this very annoying. A lot of them won't sign contracts with me because that's too much trouble. It's too much trouble. It's too much trouble to provide to the people who wrote the damn stories a copy of the books. Well, they don't. You talk to any number of writers in this field. I don't care whether it's somebody at the top like Paul Anderson or somebody, you know, who's only been writing for a few years like Adam Troy Castro or Esther Friesner or somebody like that. They've written, you know, they've been going around for a number of years, but they're not long timers. And they'll all tell you they don't have editions of their books printed in Spain or Germany or Japan because it's just too damn much trouble. It's too much trouble for the publishers to get them. Well, it's a deal breaker on my contracts. I make sure that everybody who was ever in Dangerous Visions, or again Dangerous Visions, or will be in the last Dangerous Visions, when and if, not if, when, get that book. And this is a sense of responsibility that I've found in almost none of the anthologists around. I'm not going to name their names because most of them are very decent people. They don't cheat you, they don't lie to you, but they just don't follow up. They take the story, they publish it, they pay a fee, and that's it. You don't get the book club editions, you don't get the reprint editions, and so you have no way of knowing where your books have been reprinted. You have no way of knowing how much money you should have. You have no way of knowing whether you're getting your proper royalties or not. There are no little flags for you. Well, most writers don't run their businesses very well. Writing, folks, freelance writing, is a cottage industry. My wife and I, we are a mom and pop shop. We keep very close control. My contracts tell me exactly where the books are going to be published. And when they do a foreign edition, they have to come back to me and advise me. I don't charge them extra money, or maybe $100, something like that. But I know there's going to be a Japanese edition. I know there's going to be an edition in Finland. I watch out for that. But do the writers in this industry pay any attention to that? No. They take a very short-term look. They don't keep their offices in good shape. They don't keep their papers in good shape. They don't worry about whether the magazines have been properly copyrighted. Their stories could be in the public domain. They wouldn't know any better. Well, I figured I would mention it to you because it's an ongoing problem. I'm speaking now to anthologists. There are dozens and dozens and dozens of you out there. Every jumped-up amateur who ever went to a science fiction convention thinks he or she can be an anthologist. Well, live in that fool's paradise if you will. I know you will snooker a lot of writers into sending you stories. But if you do, then you must understand that you're in caretakership. You have to do a certain number of things to keep that work viable. meaning life-supporting, meaning bringing in money for the writers. And writers, if you don't hold their feet to the fire, you're as big stummies as I think you are.
Who creates the horrors of the Wax Museum? We'll buzz with him in a moment. Stand by. At first glance, this factory in Long Beach, California might look like the Little Shop of Horrors. But in this case, the severed heads and hands aren't real. Welcome to the studio of Henry Alvarez, who is America's foremost supplier of wax figures for museums. His most popular subjects are characters from horror, sci-fi, and fantasy. Henry learned the wax figure trade from Catherine Stuberg, whose ancestors brought their unique enterprise from Germany to the United States. Catherine's grandfather set up shop in New York, making wax figures to display clothing.
They got into the movie business, and she did figures for Vincent Price's House of Wax, Gone with the Wind, the railroad scene with all the wounded, Charles Lawton in The Hunchback of Notre Dame. And then in about the, I guess it was maybe late mid-50s to mid-60s, that there was a big surge in wax museums in this country, and she being considered the Madame Tussauds of America, she was one of the prime sources for doing wax figures.
Henry went to work for Catherine Stuberg in 1968 and soon realized he had found his calling in life. He quickly advanced to foreman of the shop, learning the trade secrets of the Stuberg family.
I just started getting, Catherine took a special interest in my abilities, and she let me into the wax cleaning and painting, and normally that was just an area that she did.
The process of creating a wax figure begins with the sculpting of the head in clay. Then a mold is made of the sculpture, and a special formula of colored wax is poured in. After that is hardened, the mold is cracked open and the wax head removed. Next, holes are cut in the head and eyes put in. Ditto for the teeth. Meanwhile, the fiberglass body and wax hands are cast. Then hair is inserted into the head, one strand at a time, by Henry's sister and niece.
We make a little hook in the eye of the needle. Take the eye of the needle and you cut it at an angle like that, so you come out with a hook like this. And that's what catches the hair and pushes it into the wax.
Finally, the head and hands are painted by Henry's wife, Andrea.
The last process is actually painting the head. Painting is a kind of a trade secret that was passed on to us from Catherine's family.
Some of you may be asking, why still make figures out of wax? Why not plastic or rubber? Well, for one thing, wax lasts longer. But more importantly,
other materials, latex rubber, silicones, even though they're coming out with transparent silicone, fiberglass, they just don't capture the reality, the feeling of realness that wax gives.
However, Henry has branched out into using some of those other materials to create special effects for the movies, as well as masks, full-size figures, and bronze busts for retail. But his first love will always be wax.
I'm part of history. I'm very unique because we're basically this country's only company that makes wax figures.
This is Larry from Jacksonville, Florida, and I just finished reading The Return by William Shatner and would highly recommend it for any of the diehard Trekkers out there. The characterizations in the story are absolutely superb. Shatner and Reeve Stevens have done a wonderful job of recreating the original and next generation cast, and the storyline is, well, we got to bring him back, and he's done it. And he's done it in a somewhat plausible fashion. Highly recommended. Go for it.
Hello, Mike Jerick here with your monthly Buzz Alien Report. First up, a new Gallup poll says 40% of Americans believe Earthlings are not alone in the universe. Of course, you heard the news that Nevada Highway 375, the 98-mile runway for the other world near Area 51, has been officially renamed Extraterrestrial Highway. And alien life has taken over Hollywood with 4 major films involving dudes from other planets coming out this year. Independence Day, Contact, Men in Black, and Mars Attacks, you know, Tim Burton's film. Even President Clinton is getting involved, referring to a 1947 incident that the UFO buffs say this is proof that people from other planets have come to Earth. Quoting now, the president says, if the U.S. Air Force did recover any alien bodies, they didn't tell me about it, and I want to know. So do we, Bill. So do we. This is something I should do more often. Pay tribute to the Sci-Fi Buzz staff. John here, Allison, of course, Susan and Dave. What a tremendous job they do every week, gleaning the stuff, well, the information about science fiction, fantasy, and horror that you crave and that you love so much.
You know, Mike, if you're feeling so grateful, how about some new Buzz shirts? We've been wearing these for 3.5 years.
They look fine.
They don't look fine.
I saw Flashdance, Maniac.
No, come on.
Terrible. New one.
All right, already. I'll get you the shirts. If I don't get them the shirts, they'll join the union. So next week when you tune in, the staff will have brand new shirts. Yay! We'll see you next week.
Meet the people and see the technology that's changing our lives. Tonight at 11:30 p.m. Eastern, Sci-Fi Friday.
Watch the mysteries of the universe unfold as the Sci-Fi Channel takes you on an amazing journey through the cosmos, inside space. Coming up next.